We did a poll recently. Can you afford your bills next month? 13,000 people responded to this poll. The vast majority of them said some version of no, or yes, but only if, yes, next month, but the way things are going, not next month. So this leads to the question that many Americans are asking: in what universe does starting a war of choice against a nation that posed absolutely no imminent threat to us do for the bottom line of the American people? We know that affordability is such a huge issue for most of us that Donald has decided that it is a thing that doesn't exist, that affordability somehow is a word Democrats made up to trick us all. When the truth of the matter is that because of his disastrous economic policies, because of his idiocy and his greed, the American economy is almost in a free fall. Everything is more expensive. Inflation has not been brought down. And because of the Republican Party's inability to come up with health care, because the changes they are thinking of making to the Affordable Care Act, some Americans are actually looking at deductibles in excess of $31,000. That is more than many Americans make in a year. So again, how exactly is it that this war of choice halfway around the world is going to improve the lives of the American people? There is no answer to that question. That is a good one. It's certainly not why the war was started, because, and this is the thing people need to get in their heads, Donald Trump does not care about the American people, just as he does not care about the Iranian people. The rationale for this war has changed by the minute. Oh, it's because of the nuclear weapons program, which we obliterated less than a year ago. Oh, it's because we want regime change, even though in the initial strikes, in addition to killing all of the leaders of the repressive theocratic Iranian regime, we also killed all of the people we were going to replace them with. Oops. In that regard, Donald actually said it's because their strikes were so successful that they wiped out those that they had in line to take over for the Ayatollah and his hideous cabal of religious fanatics. What is this war about? Donald can't tell you. Those in his inner circle can't tell you. We know for a fact that his military advisors all advised against this. The generals think it's a terrible idea. In the end, do the motives even matter? I don't know that they do. What matters is that we are at war with a nation that posed no threat to us. We know from the IAEA and even American intelligence that Iran was not going to be able to have nuclear capability until at least 2035. That does not seem like an imminent threat to me. This war is going to cost untold lives and untold billions of dollars. This war is going to cost us even more our reputation. It is going to cost us the ability to present ourselves as a nation that can be taken seriously or trusted. And here's the thing, it may spiral completely out of the control to the idiot who started it in the first place. The Middle East right now is a tinderbox, all because Donald understands nothing and recognized on some deep level that this could potentially benefit him somehow. And because The Republican Party, those feckless fascists, refuse to do their fucking jobs. They are supposed to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States, which requires the President of the United States to get congressional approval before bringing this country to war. Every death is on their heads. All of the blood is on their hands. In what universe is this war, as unjustified as it is, going to make the lives of the American people better? We know already that certain stocks are tanking. We know already that the price of oil is going to go through the roof. It is already up 10%. There will be massive supply chain issues. Here's the thing that people also continue not to understand. When Donald is telling us that the American economy is great and can withstand any sort of reversal, he's talking about his own economy. He's talking about the fact that for him and his obscenely wealthy cohorts, everything is just fine. And they are going to continue making more money than they dreamed of, because the person leading the United States of America is the most corrupt, greedy grifter in the history of the planet. The American economy for Donald is going well because he and his useless children have been making billions of dollars off of the presidency since he got back into office. That is why he doesn't care about the negative impact this war will have on Americans, just as he doesn't care about the negative, potentially lethal impact it will have on American soldiers or the people in Iran who deserve better. Certainly from their cruel, repressive regime, but also from ours. Let's dive in. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Mary Trump Live at our new time. Yes, you are not imagining things. It is 4 p.m. Eastern time. And there is a lot going on. Remember, it's Monday, but that's meaningless. There was no weekend once again. The Pentagon says more U.S. forces are deploying to the Middle East as the war with Iran escalates. Can we just call it what it is? Donald Epstein's war with Iran? Thank you. In Donald's first public remarks since the strikes began Saturday, he said the campaign could last 4 to 5 weeks and possibly longer because nothing matters. He claimed the U.S. is systematically destroying Iran's missile systems, crippling its navy and preventing any nuclear capability. I thought we had obliterated any nuclear capability, but I guess details. He also refused to rule out ground troops, which should horrify you, saying a much larger wave of strikes is still ahead. Military officials called the operation early stage and would not say how it might end. They wouldn't say that because they don't know. The fighting is already spreading, as it, of course it would. I find it hard to believe that anybody thought that we could just go ahead and start bombing another country and they would just sit back and let it happen. Hezbollah fired rockets from Lebanon into Israel, prompting Israeli strikes near Beirut. Qatar says it shot down 2 Iranian warplanes entering its airspace. Iran has launched missiles and drones at Gulf nations and Israel. 3 U.S. aircraft were downed by Kuwaiti air defenses. Kuwait's our ally. So that would be, as the Pentagon said, an apparent friendly fire incident. Thankfully, the crews were rescued, but still, 3 fighter jets brought down by our allies accidentally. Yes, this is going swimmingly. Iranian officials report more than 550 dead since the war began. Lebanon says at least 31 people have been killed, at least 10 people have died in Israel, and 6 across the Gulf. 4 U.S. service members have been killed so far, and at least 5 seriously wounded. And the chairman of the Joint Chiefs warned more losses are expected. Just, as a data point, in case anybody's interested, not that anybody in the Trump regime would be, out of the almost 550 people killed in Iran, over 100 of them are children, because in those surgical airstrikes we've been told about, an elementary school for girls was blown up. Oil prices are climbing, markets are rattled, and fears are rising of a wider regional war. Iran's supreme leader, the Ayatollah Khamenei, was killed in the initial joint strike. Donald has offered shifting signals about how this war ends or who governs Iran next. Shifting signals because he doesn't know or care. Critics say, obviously, there's no clear endgame. Iranian leaders say they are not negotiating and are preparing for a prolonged conflict. ABC's Jonathan Karl posted Sunday night that he spoke to Donald and he, quote, told me tonight the U.S. had identified possible candidates to take over Iran, but they were killed in the initial attack. Quote, the attack was so successful it knocked out most of the candidates, Donald told me. It's not going to be anybody that we were thinking of because they're all dead. Second or third place is dead. Unquote, unquote. It is difficult to express my contempt for what's happening and the person who's making it all happen. The fact that that person is in charge of any of this, that person initiated it and continues to know nothing about what to do next, who defied his generals, who defied everybody in his inner circle, who told him this was a terrible idea, who has made absolutely no plans for how to get out, how to curtail Iran's nuclear capabilities, or to help the Iranian people find a better way to be governed. I keep thinking about the fact that this war is not just unconstitutional, it's also in contravention of international law. Where's the outcry? Where's the uproar? Why? And this is the question I keep asking myself, and I don't know. I don't know anything about the Uniform Military Code. I don't know how these things are supposed to work. What I do understand is that the President of the United States is Commander-in-Chief of the U.S. military. But I also know that according to the fucking Constitution, in order for a president to wage war, he needs congressional approval, which he did not get because he didn't ask for it. Why did anybody follow his illegal orders? I want that question answered. According to the Washington Post, Donald ordered Saturday's sweeping attack after weeks of pressure from the Republicans in Congress, from the American people. No, he didn't bother to talk to any of us about any of this. No, weeks of pressure from two key allies in the region, Israel and Saudi Arabia. So yes, the President of the United States is now using the United States military to the possible detriment of the American people to do their bidding. The report cites 4 people familiar with the discussions who say Israeli and U.S. forces ultimately coordinated in the campaign. Saudi Crown Prince and murderer Mohammed bin Salman is said to have privately called Donald multiple times over the past month, urging U.S. military action, even as Donald publicly voiced support for diplomacy. Well, that's a friggin' joke. The fact that anybody believed that he was interested in diplomacy in the first place is absurd on its face because he doesn't even know what it is. Diplomacy means compromise. And in Donald's very small mind, strong people don't compromise. Strong people always get their way. At the same time, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu continued his longstanding public push for U.S. strikes against Iran, which he considers an existential threat to Israel. I'm not entirely sure that's true anymore, considering how weakened Iran has become over the years and how moribund its economy is. It's literally teetering on the brink of insolvency. All of this comes despite U.S. intelligence assessments that Iran was unlikely to pose a direct threat to the U.S. mainland within the next decade, and marks a break from decades of American restraint in avoiding full-scale regime removal in a country of more than 90 million people. 90 million people. And not all of those people are pro-Western democracy. Iran is a very complicated, complex, closed-off country about which Donald understands nothing. There was no scenario in which there weren't going to be extraordinary complications and massive hurdles. In fact, to get the result Donald at least claims he wants, to get the result that actually would be a good result, regime change so that Iran finally became a representative democracy for all of its people, and the eradication of Iran's nuclear weapons program, that would take threading a needle so fine that you would need somebody who actually, one, understood how difficult it would be, and two, wasn't a completely inept moron. Which is to say, we're in trouble. In a pre-taped message on Saturday, Donald told the nation to expect more American casualties. Let's listen.
Earlier today, CENTCOM shared the news that 3 U.S. military service members have been killed in action. As one nation, we grieve for the true American patriots who have made the ultimate sacrifice for our nation, even as we continue the righteous mission for which they gave their lives. We pray for the full recovery of the wounded and send our immense love and eternal gratitude to the families of the fallen. And sadly, there will likely be more. Before it ends, that's the way it is.
Oh, is it really? That's the way it is. Yes, that is the way it is when you enter into a war of choice that will almost certainly end badly. People will die needlessly, and Donald won't give a shit about any of it because he has his own reasons for wanting this war, partially because he's a deeply sick man who, as I've been saying for a very long time now, should not be within a billion light years of the levers of power. And yet, here we are. This morning, Pete Hegseth, so-called Secretary of Defense, spoke to the press, and here's some of what he had to say.
As the president warned, an effort of this scope will include casualties. War is hell and always will be.
Yeah, it's particularly hell when it's unnecessary, and the country who started the war is being led by the most incompetent, unempathetic, cruel, vicious, violent people who, quite frankly, are getting off on it and are hoping that this war is going to allow them to stay in power illegitimately. Here's more from Hegseth.
I heard the question about 4 weeks. Brothers butchered by Iranian-backed roadside bombs and well-armed militias, thousands of our own. We didn't start this war, but under President Trump, we are finishing it. Their war on Americans has become our retribution against their Ayatollah and his death cult.
Oh, I know a thing or two about death cults. We have one in this country, first of all. Secondly, that is very Orwellian. What Hegseth is basically saying there is, we didn't start the war we started, but we're going to end the war we have no plans to end. When the question was asked about how long this operation might take, Hegseth became condescending and a little defensive, which is sort of his trademark at this point. So watch this.
I heard the question about 4 weeks. It's the typical NBC sort of gotcha type question. President Trump has all the latitude in the world to talk about how long it may or may not take. 4 weeks, 2 weeks, 6 weeks. It could move up. It could move back. We're going to execute at his command the objectives we've set out to achieve. And what he has shown an ability to do that other presidents can't quite seem to have the aperture to do, well, I mean, Joe Biden didn't even know what he was doing, is to look for opportunities and off-ramps and escalations for the United States that creates new opportunities to execute what we need on our own timeline. So you can play games about 4 weeks, 5 weeks. He has all the latitude, and I'm glad he does, because there's no better communicator than our president expressing those things.
Daily Mail.
I've been in meetings with the president for the last 2.5 days. We know exactly where his headspace is, and he will communicate as he should exactly what he would like, and we will follow those orders. And I think everything he said on that is right down the middle.
Oh, whoa, right down the middle. Well, that's clear. It's so comforting that Pete Hegseth knows where Donald's headspace is, whatever that means. Donald is a great communicator. Guess what? Donald Trump has communicated absolutely nothing to the American people that is clear and definitive about why this is happening or what he plans to do or how long. The idea that he has all the latitude, first of all, is insane. He is not a dictator yet, although clearly congressional Republicans seem to think that that's okay for him to have all the latitude. But no, that isn't how it works. That cannot be normalized. This is an illegal, unconstitutional war that usurps congressional power. And the two people in charge right now are the worst people to be in charge ever, especially in a war of Donald's choosing. In a White House ceremony this morning, Donald recognized 3 U.S. Army soldiers with the Medal of Honor, with 2 of the commendations being awarded posthumously. Afterward, he spoke to the press and families, and there was more than just the Medal of Honor or the war he started in Iran on his mind. He also has another very, very important priority, because Donald is somebody who, more than anything, has his priorities straight. Watch this.
See that nice drape? When that comes down right now, you see a very, very deep hole. But in about a year and a half from now, you're going to see a very, very beautiful building. And there's your entrance to it right there. In fact, it looks so nice, I think I'll save money on the doors, because it can't get more beautiful than that. I picked those drapes in my first term. I always like gold, but I think we can save a lot of money. I just saved curtains. But, and it'll be spectacular. It'll be the most beautiful ballroom. I believe it's, because I built many a ballroom. I believe it's going to be the most beautiful ballroom anywhere in the world. And when you hear all that hammering out there, you know why the First Lady is not thrilled exactly. She said, will the pile drivers ever stop? You know, they go from 6 in the morning till 11:30 in the evening. Can you imagine? Here? You know what? To me, that's a beautiful sound. She doesn't like it. I love it. You know what? To me, other than here, because we're donating it, not a penny to the taxpayer. It'll be under budget, ahead of schedule. It'll be 400 million or less. Most people say 400 million or more. No, it'll be less. But when I hear that sound, that beautiful sound behind me, it means money, so I like it. But my wife isn't thrilled. She said, this is getting crazy. I said, don't worry about it. We'll be all finished up in a few months. But now for the reason that we're gathered this morning to recognize the
United States of America is at war with Iran. There is literally no reason to think that Iran and Iran's allies won't retaliate in ways that could be devastating to the people of this country. I do not think that Donald's grotesque ballroom and the fact that its construction is continuing apace will be of any comfort whatsoever to the families of those soldiers who are dead, or to the Iranian citizens who've lost children, even if indeed they did want regime change. I'm not entirely sure what else it is going to take to convince people that that man is so unfit, so reckless, so grotesque, so inhumane, so degraded and deviant and depraved. Seriously, what else do we need? And here's the problem. People in that room were laughing along with him. Because there is a certain class of people in this country that has no limits, who understand there is no line Donald can cross to get them to understand what it is they are supporting. Or also, a very good possibility, they are just as depraved and deviant and grotesque. A new Reuters Ipsos poll shows that only 27% of Americans support the U.S. strikes on Iran, and that's probably because they don't understand why they're happening. That's roughly 1 in 4 Americans backing the military action. That is a very, very small percentage. Typically, Americans start off wildly approving military action, and then that support degrades over the time when things start going south. See above Iraq War. 43% disapprove, 29% say they're unsure, but they will be, I promise you, in the not too distant future. Nearly 9 in 10 Americans say they have heard at least something about the strikes. Well, that's comforting. The survey also finds that 56% believe Donald is too willing to use military force to advance U.S. interests. Although, again, I defy you to tell me what U.S. interests are here. That view is shared by 87% of Democrats, 60% of independents, and 23% of Republicans, which is a very high number for his own party. That poll closed on Sunday as the conflict continued to unfold. This afternoon, though, a new poll from CNN was released. So let's take a look at that.
We have a brand new CNN poll out right now showing high disapproval of President Trump's strikes on Iran. A brand new CNN poll found that nearly 6 in 10 Americans disapprove of the airstrikes on Iran. And there are few signs of good news for the president elsewhere in this poll. 59% of Americans say they don't trust President Trump to make the right decisions on the use of force in Iran. 60% of Americans do not believe the president has a clear plan on how to handle the situation.
All right, well, that's as it should be. And hopefully, well, not hopefully, I'm actually quite certain that those numbers will continue to trend in that way because, you know, a cliche, but an accurate one, this is going to get so much worse before it gets better, if it gets better. Just a reminder, please do check us out over at Substack. My Substack is called The Good in Us. We have an amazing community over there, and it would be wonderful to have you join us. It's free to subscribe. There are paid options, if you want to support our mission, but you do not have to spend a dime. Also, our podcast is everywhere you can find podcasts. So check that out as well. And of course, we're also on Patreon. So we have lots of bonus content over there if you want to look at our Patreon membership. Okay, again, it's Monday. Joke's on us, I suppose. So why don't we just take a breath? And thankfully, we have reached today's emotional support moment. We're going to go back a season or two and look at the state of Maine and the sounds of fall. It is so, I live in the mid-Atlantic state, New York, but the northeast of this country is among the most beautiful, beautiful places on the planet. So check this out and keep breathing. It's still winter here. I'm actually looking forward to summer, but I love fall as well. That was lovely. All right, let us get to your questions, comments, etc. All right. Hang on 1 second. Sorry, guys. Give me your I'll be right with you. I feel like there should be elevator music playing right now. Okay, here we go. Here we go. This says it all. This is from His Divine Scottu. Thank you very much for that. Quote, some of you may die, but it's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. Lord Farquaad from Shrek. Yep, that's it. His Divine Scottu, thank you also for this, gifting 1 Meritrat Media membership. Awesome. Kendra, thank you so much for being a super sticker, and thank you for that. Susan, comment, gas has gone up 35 cents in 2 days here in Lakeland, Florida. Yes, we all need to get used to that. Who needs to drive? Oh, yeah, most of America. Morris Folk TK, comment, I sincerely hope all European countries are clever enough to stay out of it. I mean, he said our soldiers don't go near the front line anyway. Yeah, no kidding. Problem is that a lot of European nations have mutual security agreements with the nations that are going to be drawn into this conflict. So it gets a little complicated. Susan, comment, distraction. Indeed, it is. It's more than that, but that is a big part of what is going on here in Donald Epstein's war of choice. Purpley one, super sticker. Thank you very much. It's really, really generous of you. Much appreciated. Midas Pilot, thank you very much for that. Comment, it has to be blatantly illegal to refuse. Well, I'm not entirely sure how it isn't blatantly illegal to circumvent Congress, considering it's in the Constitution. But again, I'm not a constitutional scholar. I don't understand military law, but it's definitely a contravention of international law. That I do know. Cal, Oh, Kal-El 311 Superman comment, my God, I knew Donald didn't care about the people. The Republicans don't care about the people. Yeah, they do not. They're all monsters. Susan, thank you so much, as always, Susan, for gifting 5 Marriage Trap Media memberships. Awesome. TLIS8 PK comment, endless money for endless wars, but no money for healthcare. That's right. Hey, listen, if you're not really rich, what right do you have to have healthcare? Seriously. Reggie comment, according to Republicans, we are not at war because we don't have soldiers on the ground. Seriously, that's what they're saying. Well, that's one, stupid, and two, Donald told us that there probably will be boots on the ground in Iran, and that is when things are going to go very south very quickly. Deb, member for 6 months, fantastic comment, a articulate and loving M. Trump. Oh, well, thank you. That's very kind. Drake Star Dragon comment, yeah, distraction from the Epstein files, or he thinks it does. He can think so all he wants. I think maybe he's just distracting himself from it, quite frankly. Motley Pfizer comment, Donald Trump avoided the military draft 5 times. Donald thinks American soldiers are losers. Yeah, he does. Yep. He's a loser. And the fact that he has the power to send our troops to die is one of the greatest horrors of this whole thing, quite frankly. Fairy Moon Witch, thank you very much for that comment. At Joe Colorado swear jar at this war he doesn't care about, or none of us either. Yeah, no kidding. Yes, I think that Joe Colorado swear jar is going to need to be replenished in a very, very, very big way. Deidre Lilly, thank you very much for that. Excellent. In the middle of nowhere, thank you very much, as always. Comment, contribution to the JC swear jar on your behalf, as well as mine, because there's destined to be a whole lot of swearing. My head is exploding. Comment, Pete Hegseth's clothes always look too small. Ick. Yeah, that's because he wants to look, more beefed up than he is, because he's pathetic. Sorry. Susan, thank you so much again, as always. Comment, thank you, Mary, for saying all the things I'm thinking and feeling. I feel your outrage. We need your powerful voice more than ever. Support independent media friends. Well, thank you also for that, Susan. Purpley One, thank you again. Truly awesome. Comment for Joe Colorado's huge swear jar. Curtains are the least of our problems. Dumbass Donald. Yeah, no kidding. Jackie is a super sticker. Thank you so much for that. Much appreciated. Paulette, comment. He cares nothing about those people, only about oil, natural resources, and maybe a Trump hotel on Strait, controlling the Strait. Yeah. It's all about money, but also protecting his pathetic little ego from the humiliating truths about him. David, comment, as a British citizen, I think the results of this reckless military action are going to be horrific and potentially unstoppable. And now the British PM has allowed the U.S. The U.S. used 2 British bases for defensive operations, but where's the line between defensive and offensive? What control does the UK have to control that narrative? This is not going to end well. No, it isn't. And nobody should be supporting him in this effort. He needs to be isolated and weakened and reviled, but just goes to show you idiocy has no boundaries, borders, I should say. Ghostly Air 59. Yep. Comment. So much blood on his hands. It is incalculable. Eliza, thank you very much for this. It is a new time slot fee. Cool. Claudette comments, so I'm having a rough time with all my bills. Donald is wasting our money. He took things away in the start of his presidency to save money. Now he's throwing our money out like rain in a flood. Yes, he is. Because again, he's still getting really, really rich. So he does not care how anybody else suffers. Dorothy, thank you so much as always for that comment. He has no idea who he's just pissed off and how far they will go to get revenge. He has no idea about anything. As long as he's okay and really rich. Susan, super sticker. Yes. Thank you again. So amazing. Much appreciated. And finally, again, Susan, so kind of you, so generous. Comment, keep shining a spotlight on the FC files. Justice for the survivors. I know you will, Mary. Oh, yes, we will never, ever, ever, ever let that go. Okay, guys, it has been so great to be with you today at our new time, 4 p.m. Eastern. That's the way it's going to be going forward, Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern. So first of all, thank you to everybody streaming on YouTube. Hopefully people will get the word that we are now at 4. Hopefully that works out for as many people as humanly possible, and maybe we'll get some new people in here. To everybody streaming on Twitter and Substack, thank you to everybody listening to the what's it called? Podcast. Yeah, which is everywhere. So check that out. To all of our new members, to everybody gifting memberships, to all of our super stickers, to everybody giving us donations, we truly appreciate you. Easiest way to support us, if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel. We are like stuck. So it would be amazing to get a new influx of new subscribers. Again, it does not cost anything. Just have to click on the subscribe button and then click on the bell icon and choose all. That way, you will be alerted every time new videos drop. Speaking of which, another really easy way to support us is watch, share, and like those pre-recorded videos, which drop every single day here, in addition to the lives. Also, comment on them. That helps us with the algorithm. And I think that's, oh, well, what am I saying? We have merchandise. Just go to shop. I'm going to forget it. There we go. Shop.marriagetrepmedia.com. Got amazing stuff over there. Again, check us out on Patreon, bonus content. Check us out. Especially go to our Substack, The Good in Us. It is very cool over there. And look, there is a QR code. Awesome. All right. Thank you to our amazing moderators for keeping this ship afloat. I'm not entirely sure that's what I meant to say, but thank you, mods. You're awesome. And of course, to my extraordinary team for doing this and just rolling with what has been a quite tumultuous time. But despite it all, we are getting there. We're here and we're not going anywhere. So again, we will see you tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern, every weeknight, Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern. In the meantime, everybody, please stay safe and be kind. Bye.